What's going on, everybody? We're going to do some Dynasty Week 7 previews. We're going to do it the old school way where we go through the games by themselves. Since the commission and I did have a little mix up, I thought he was still going to create the PowerPoints, but he did not. So we are going to just take a look at the old school way of what's going on NFL.com. Give me 1 second while we go ahead and get ready. So the first game we are going to talk about is Bills Mafia 5-1, however, versus Philly Miracle Men 0-6. And let's just not talk too much about this. Bills Mafia Scars. I apologize for that one. Is going to go 6-1 with an easy win here. Bills Mafia is number 1 for points for. Philly Miracle Men is number 16 with points against, and it is about 720 point difference or 780 point difference. So yeah, we're not even going to talk about this. I definitely have Bills Mafia winning. Let's see, the commish had he wrote Mafia destroys Miracle Men, and I agree with him on that one. So next up we do have Curly Lamborghini versus Agent Steel. Looking at the two teams, we do have Carson Wentz playing San Francisco, Kyler Murray playing Houston. I think both teams are going to put up, both quarterbacks are going to put up some points. Definitely Murray is going to put up more points than Carson Wentz. Looking at the three running backs for each team, you have Ingram, Coleman, and Booker versus Herbert, Gaskins, and Perrine. Even if Damian Williams comes back, who is still on the COVID list, I think Herbert will still get his carries. I think he will do great against Tampa Bay. Gaskins is playing Atlanta. And with Malcolm Brown, I believe he's actually injured. He is on the mend for this week, so he might play. He is currently questionable. And Perrine, he might come back from COVID, and he might not. We'll see how that happens. Versus Booker, Coleman, and Ingram. Honestly, I think the running back rooms are a wash. Maybe actually in favor of Curly Lamborghini, even though Herbert on NFL.com is projected to score about 4 points. I don't think that's going to be the case. I think Herbert will put up probably about 10 points and turn this one for Curly Lamborghini. Looking at the running wide receiver room, you got Hunter Henry, Deebo Samuel, and Devonta Smith versus Hill, Lockett, and Adams. Give me those three guys all day long. Looking at the tight ends, you have Everett and Janu Smith versus Who's Your Mama and Hunter Henry. I do like the starters for Curly better. And looking at the two rooms or the two quarterback flexes, the super flex, only Curly Lamborghini has somebody in there. You got Mac Jones, who I think is actually a good quarterback. He is playing the Jets versus Pringle, who is a wide receiver. Kind of scrolling down, and the reason for that is Baker Mayfield is out. He is not on IR. He is out. And also for the commish, he does have Kareem Hunt on IR. CeeDee Lamb and Cooper on the bye versus, looking at Curly's, he's got Everon, Agnew, Pollard. He's probably the best person that he has that's on the bye. So almost a full lineup for Curly here, and Curly is going to get the win. The commish originally picked Curly winning as well. And then let's take a quick look who I picked to win, Agent Steel. I actually had him losing as well to Curly, and we are going with this one. Next up, we have Bolt Up versus Bare Naked Ladies. And even with Bare Naked Ladies, he's 2-4, and Bolt Up is 3-3. The two teams are pretty decent enough. Bare Naked Ladies does have Trevor Lawrence on the bye, Herndon on the bye as well, and then he doesn't have a kicker in. Joey Bosa is on the bye for him as well, and Josh Allen as well. So kind of looking at his team, he can put Zach Wilson in, so hopefully he does make that change for us, and we don't have to yell at him. And then he will be able to maybe put some DLs or whatever he has in here, but half his team is on a bye. But he does have Nick Bosa, who he can put into his lineup. First is Bolt Up, looking Jalen Hurts. He did make that trade for Jalen Hurts and Justin Herbert. Jalen Hurts is the garbage time QB, so he likes to run for a couple touchdowns when nothing else is going on. Kind of looking at the two teams, you got Mike Davis, Hill, and Patterson versus Vaughn, Swift, and Richard. It really comes down to Mike Davis versus Swift, and Swift is playing the Rams, and I believe Mike Davis is playing Miami. It's going to be close. Honestly, NFL.com projects Swift with the better projected score. Mike Davis actually might get more points just because he's playing Miami. Looking at the wide receivers, you got Goodwin, Anderson, and Raymond versus Hardman, Kirk, and Julio Jones. Honestly, I mean, it's close. It's probably a wash. If Jones does play, it definitely favors bare naked ladies a little bit more. Originally, the commish had, let's take a look, Bolt Up winning this. I'm going to say I originally had Bolt Up winning. I actually originally had bare naked ladies winning this one. I think it's going to be close. Let's take a look what NFL.com has it. NFL.com definitely has it in favor of Bolt Up, and I am going to change my pick. I am going to switch over to Bolt Up as well. Next up, we have Crushy, aka Orange. Actually, I think that is the game of the week. Let's take a quick look. We might save that one for last. That is the game of the week, so we're going to save that one. Thanks, Commish, for not putting the games in order. We're going to switch over to Randall Flag Football versus Likely Losers. Taking a quick look at the team, Likely Losers is 1-5. He is ranked 15. Brian and Randall Flag Football is 5-1. He is ranked number 2. Looking at the two teams, Likely Losers does have Stephon Diggs in his lineup. Bills defense, Vander Esch, Rousseau in his lineup, and he really doesn't have much to replace those guys with. Looking at the two teams, Aaron Rodgers is playing Washington, and Patrick Mahomes looked pretty good against them last week. I know Washington defense did get some sacks, so that will be negative for Rodgers. I think they will get to him as well. Josh Jacobs is playing Philadelphia. Mixon is playing Baltimore. Miles Sanders, who I think will get some rushes this week, versus Stevenson, who looking pretty good, honestly, running the ball. James Conner and Melvin Gordon. Honestly, I like all three guys. If Damian Harris wasn't the number one in New England and Stevenson was, I would honestly probably favor this for Likely Losers in the running back room. But he is number 2. Randall Flag Football definitely gets that one. The win there. Looking at the wide receivers, you have Calvin Ridley and AJ Brown, Metcalf versus Preston Williams, Curtis Samuel, and Stephon Diggs, who is on a bye, as we just said. So that leaves an easy favor for Randall Flag Football. Tight ends, you do have Zach Ertz, recently traded to Arizona to Dallas Goedert. He is in the COVID list. He might come off in time. So we'll see how that goes. They do both have 2 quarterbacks playing. Darnold is playing the G-Man. I do see this as a bounce back game for Darnold versus Matt Ryan, who is Matt Ryan. But I think he will throw a couple touchdown passes this week, and Likely Losers might get some points, but it won't be enough. Randall Flag Football does go to 6-1 this week, and it is super simple. Next up, we do have No More playing against Unnecessary Roughness. Chris and No More are 3-3, or he's in 7th, just in for the playoffs, and Unnecessary Roughness is ranked 11th. He was, and Unnecessary Roughness does need to win here to get back in the playoff race. So let's take a quick look at the two teams. You got Joe Burrow versus Goff, and let's just be honest, Burrow is better than Goff, but Burrow is playing Baltimore, and look what Baltimore just did to Justin Herbert versus Jared Goff, who is playing the Rams. I know NFL.com has Burrow playing. I still think Justin Herbert is better, has better weapons besides Jamar Chase. And I don't think Burrow's going to put up a lot of points here, but No More does have Derrick Henry, who is playing Kansas City. And let's be honest, he's probably going to run all over Kansas City. I'm going to say 3 touchdowns, 150 yards, call it now, versus Saquon Barkley, who I don't think is going to come back in time, Travis Homer, and Javonta Smith playing Cleveland. The running back room definitely in favor of no more. Looking at the wide receivers, you have Mike Evans, Allen Robinson, DJ Moore versus Higgins, Hollywood Brown, Antonio Brown. Wide receiver rooms are pretty even, honestly. Maybe in favor of no more, just slightly, but it's super close. Kind of scrolling down, we do have tight ends. You got Fisker and Akins versus Hurst and Schultz. Schultz is on a bye, so that is no points for unsighted roughness. And let's just take a quick look, see if he does have anybody to replace. He does not have any tight ends to put in to replace Schultz, so that is definitely going to hurt his chances. And honestly, he needs to win here. And looking at the flex, we do have two quarterbacks that are on a bye, so there is no quarterbacks in the super flex. You got Rodgers and Johnson, Gage versus Cobb, Callaway versus Edwards, and honestly, it's super close. We also say Harris versus AJ Green. Super close. Definitely favors no more. Probably just a little bit more. And honestly, the commission originally picked no more being unnecessary roughness. I originally had, let's take a quick look. Unnecessary roughness. I also had no more winning this one, so no more gets the W. Next up, we have Vlad Jr Crew versus Optimus Prime. Taking a quick look at this one, we do Vlad Jr Crew is 3-3. He is ranked 8th. He is just in the playoffs, so he needs to keep that winning streak going. Optimus Prime is 1-5. He is ranked 14th. Looking at the two quarterbacks, we have Tannehill playing KC and Hinkie playing Green Bay. And I think Tannehill won't be throwing the ball too much. And I think Hinkie will be throwing the ball all day long because I think Green Bay is going to go up big and they're going to be playing from behind. Looking at the running back room, we have Hubbard, Ty Johnson, and Sonny Michel versus Patterson, Freeman, and Kenyon Drake. And, it's pretty close. Kenyon Drake did go off last week. He did score 2 touchdowns in that, highly energized game that the Raiders did put up last week. Patterson is playing Miami. I think it's going to be close. I think Optimus Prime's running backs might be a little bit better with Hubbard playing the Giants and Michelle playing Detroit, but it's close. Looking at the wide receiver room, Aguilar, Cup, and Rondell Moore versus Jamar Chase, Carter, and DeAndre Hopkins. Even with Carter playing for Optimus Prime, I would probably rather have Optimus Prime's wide receivers. It really comes down to, can Rondell Moore get into the end zone? If he can, even if he can't, favor Optimus Prime's wide receivers just a little. Then looking at the tight end room, you got Waller and Hawkinson versus Nayuk and L.A. Cox. L.A. Cox did have 2 touchdowns last week, I believe. And he has touchdowns in back-to-back games versus Waller, who's playing Philly, and Philly lets up touchdowns to tight ends all day long. And Hawkins is playing the Rams. Even with Mo Cox playing San Fran, tight end room definitely goes to Vlad Jr. Crew. They both do have quarterbacks playing, but I would rather have Lamar Jackson over Geno Smith any day of the week. And I think this is going to be a close one. The commission does have Vlad Jr. Crew winning this one. I originally have Vlad Jr. Crew winning this one as well. And NFL.com actually is projecting Optimus Prime winning this one. And as I said in the beginning, Vlad Jr. Crew's schedule, every game is super close. Honestly, I think this could be a close one. I think if he can, put somebody in for Devin Bush, it's going to be close. I'm going to stick with my original projection of Vlad Jr. Crew winning this one as well. Next up, we have Sabatica Spartans versus the Illuminati. Robert, 4-2, ranked 5th, complete opposite of what his LOC team is, versus Sabatica Spartans and Doosan, 2-4, ranked 10th, just outside the playoffs here. Looking at the two teams, Tom Brady versus Danny Dimes, Fournette, Jamal Williams, the other Williams, Darrell Williams, versus AJ Dillon, Kamara, and McKissick. McKissick is the passing down. And I did say that I think Green Bay is going to go big and Henke is going to throw the ball. And if you're the PPR back, throwing the ball is great. So you'll definitely get points. However, I think this is it's a wash. I think, for the production between Fournette, Williams, and Williams squared versus McKissick, Kamara, and Dillon is going to be pretty even, honestly. Looking at the wide receiver rooms, you got Watkins, Robinson, and Hinton versus Landry, who should be coming back from IR, Parker, and Mooney. And all day long, give me Sabatka Spartans wide receiver room all day long. Looking at the tight ends, you do have Graham, you do have Boyle versus Dewey and Kelsey. And it really comes down to, will Dewey be the number one tight end this week? And I don't know the answer to that. That is what's going to happen. We're going to have to see how that plays out. If Dewey is the number one tight end room definitely goes to Spartans. But looking at the super flex, there's only one starting quarterback, and that is on the Illuminati side. He does have Bridgewater starting versus Ayuk. And then you got Greg Ward, who has caught those garbage time touchdown from Jalen Hurts. And Proche versus Ayuk, Hilton, and Van Jefferson. And I think Bridgewater is going to cover the production of Hilton and Jefferson, and I think it's going to be a wash. And to me, let's just take a kind of a quick look, see if there's any missing flex or IDPs so everybody is playing. To me, the game's going to come down to how many points does Tom Brady score against Chicago versus Danny Dimes in Carolina. It's going to be a close one. I think this could have been close to the game of the week, as it's a must win for both teams. I think Illuminati doesn't want his team to look like what is happening in the LOC. And Spartans wants to make the playoffs. So I think this is going to be a super close one. I think, let's take a quick look. The commish does have Spartans winning. I originally predicted, let's see, who did I originally predict to win this one? I also predict the Spartans to win. I think it's going to be close. I think it's going to be a good matchup. I'm going to stick with Spartans to win this one, and we are going to go there. And the last game we're going to talk about is Zebras versus Orange Crush, aka Crushy. Zebras is 5-1. She is ranked 4th. Adrian is 6-0. He is ranked number 1. And this is why this is the game of the week. It's 1 versus 4. And even though the other one is a good matchup for game of the week, this one's better. 1-4 versus, I believe that was 5-10. So we all know why. But kind of looking at the two teams' lineups, you got Fitzmagic, who is on IR, and I don't think he's going to come back and start, even if when he does come back. I think Henke has that. Versus Patrick Mahomes playing Tennessee. I think Mahomes is going to put up 4 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. Looking at the running back rooms, we got Latavius Murray, Jonathan Taylor, Gibson versus Hines, Aaron Jones, and Malcolm Brown, who is injured. If Malcolm Brown doesn't go, the running back room definitely goes to Zebras. Looking at the wide receiver, we do have wide receivers. We do have Woods, Oscars, and Bateman, Rashad Bateman versus Waddle, Pittman, and Pascals. And, honestly, it really comes down to, does Matty Ice throw his wide receiver here? If not, the wide receiver room definitely goes to Crushy. Looking at tight ends, Tunyon, he hasn't really done a ton. And Jawan Johnson versus Mark Andrews and Evan Ingram. Give me Crushy's tight ends here as well. And then you have Trey Lance versus Tua. Question is, does Trey Lance actually play here? Does he get to start? If not, definitely give me Tua playing Atlanta. I think if Trey Lance does start here, I think it's more even than anything. Looking at the flex options, you got Slayton, Conley, and Collins versus Duvernay, OJ Howard, and Riggins. I think they're both all not that great flex, but they're going to get you points week in and week out. Looking at those 3 guys I just spoke about, including Trey Lance, I think those flex are a wash, maybe in favor of Tua just a little. Then kind of scrolling down, looking at the IDPs. IDPs, everybody's starting, kind of looking at the flex. The Adam Thielen is on a buy. Marvin Jones is on a buy, so that definitely does affect Zebras here. But Crushy does have Devonta Johnson, CEH on the IR, Claypool on a buy, and he does have Schwann in on his bench, so it's going to be close. I think Crushy is going to go to 7-0. The commish also has Crushy stays undefeated as well. I originally had Zebras winning this one, but I am changing my prediction here. I am going Orange Crush with the win here, and that is what's going to happen. All right, everybody. Well, I hope you enjoyed the videos this week, and I'll see you guys next week when the commission is not here, but we'll definitely get the PowerPoint back. Have a great week, and hopefully my team doesn't get destroyed too bad by Bills Mafia.